This week's episode is brought to you by Crown Haven Wealth Advisors, your retirement reimagined. Coming up today on RetireSHIELD TV.
I'm really wanting to understand what matters to you, what you enjoy doing, what an ideal retirement looks like for you, how you think about money, what obstacles you view that are in the way right now. And once we understand the human component, that's really where the planning begins, because if we understand who you are on a deeply personal level, that allows us to look at what we can control. And a lot of clients have questions about this. They've wondered in their mind, like, what would an all stock portfolio look like? What would an all bond portfolio look like? What would a mixture of those look like? What if I were to use an insurance product, right? What if I were to have just all my money in a bank account?
Yeah, your puzzle pieces.
Yeah, we're able to show them all of that, and it's like, wow, I understand all of this now, and it's based on data.
Knowing people and building trust. Get on the right path to achieve your retirement goals with Casey Marx and the team at Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. Understand the process and challenges of retirement planning. Discover the keys to a successful retirement.
Hello and welcome to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm consumer advocate Morgan Patrick, and as always, I am joined by the founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Casey is not only the author of Baby Boomer Retirement Bootcamp, he is also a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. It is good to see you, Casey.
Good to be with you, Morgan.
All right, so today we're going to discuss the engagement cycle. When an individual meets with Crown Haven, and this is very important. So Casey, what is the first step a future client would take in order to get their own RetireSHIELD?
So Morgan, if you were to imagine that, the lights and cameras were gone, it looks very much like the chairs we're sitting in right now. It's a very comfortable atmosphere, and we have what we call a relationship visit. And the first step is really just getting to know each other. The reason it's called a relationship visit is in order to build a retirement plan properly, you first have to have a relationship that's built on trust and shared values. I know I can't have a relationship with any other human being without trust, and I know that I can't have a plan built without that relationship built in the first place. So
I was just going to say, this is probably the most intimidating because people are concerned about their retirement. This is a big step for them.
It's a huge step, and that's something that we talk about when folks come in. And I say, listen, I know that it's taken a lot of courage to come in here, especially when folks are working with another advisor. They might think they've got it solved, but something in their gut tells them that they need a second opinion.
Sure.
And so they'll come in, and I'm not ignorant to the fact that we have a fundamentally flawed sales system in finance. And so most people are expecting to walk in to an atmosphere where I'm going to sit down and start telling them what they should be doing with their money.
Right.
As opposed to what actually happens, which we're sitting in chairs like this, and I get to know you. I'm really wanting to understand what matters to you, what you enjoy doing, what an ideal retirement looks like for you, how you think about money, what obstacles you view that are in the way right now. And once we understand the human component, that's really where the planning begins, because if we understand who you are on a deeply personal level, that allows us to look at what we can control. And we can control a lot of things. We can control the risk we're taking. We can control the fees that we're paying. We can control how we set up our funds from a tax perspective, legacy perspective, you name it. And retirement planning is significantly different than financial planning in that regard, because it's my job to land the plane. So a lot of folks will come in with investment portfolios that they have and feel in their gut that it's not serving their interests in the same way that it was maybe serving their interests, over the last 20, 30, 40 years. And what I then do is we run a diagnostic on that portfolio to show them with facts that their gut is right. And that's also a very powerful and positive experience for them, because it brings them up to speed, and it's not just an emotional response anymore. It's an intellectual response, and they feel empowered by the knowledge that they're receiving.
So there are two different, boats for this. There are people out there that have been planning their entire lives, or I should say saving, accumulating.
Yeah.
They have this portfolio.
Yeah.
And they need someone to help land the plane, and they're midway through.
Absolutely.
And then you've got the other boat where they have a pilot.
Yeah.
They're working with someone and they're trying to figure it out, and they got that feeling that maybe it's just not quite right, and they want kind of a second opinion. They need somebody else to land or possibly talk about landing that plane.
Right. Well, I think it's very important for our viewers at home to understand that retirement planning is significantly different than financial planning. And we're really talking about two different stages of life. You know, you touched on it a second ago. For the most part of our lives, when we're saving, we're in something called the accumulation phase, which allows us to ride out the market, even if that doesn't feel particularly nice to us. For example, you know, if we take a 20% loss while we're working and we're still contributing to a 401k or an IRA or whatever it is.
It's okay, it's kind of a blip.
It's okay, it's a blip on the radar. Why? We're still earning income from employment, we can still meet our basic needs, and we can still do some things that we want to do, like take vacations or whatever. When we reach retirement, we're now in a distribution phase. We now need our funds to provide our basic standard of living and provide funds for things that we want to do. And then we're going to be contending with other issues like taxation, inflation, that volatility we mentioned. So you need a retirement planner that has that expertise, that specialty, in order to land the plane. And the reason people feel in their gut like their portfolio is not set up properly for them, or their pilot isn't the proper pilot for them, is because either that person isn't offering them the tools and resources to land the plane properly, or their philosophy doesn't align with that stage of life. And so then when they come in and we show them that their gut is correct, and we provide them factually accurate information on how to solve the problems, that's an incredibly empowering feeling for them. And it's something that I find great fulfillment in on a daily basis, because quite literally, that's the reason we're working so hard in the first place, is to get there and then be able to enjoy our lives.
And this relationship phase, that first phase,
yeah.
It is not a, hey, how you doing, sign you up,
no.
and see ya.
No.
I mean, this is the start of what we're calling the relationship. It's ongoing and there's communication.
Look, I don't want clients that I don't understand, right? And I don't want clients to want to work with us if all they think I am is somebody sitting behind a desk going, this is what I think is the best thing since sliced white bread and you have to listen to me. I want a relationship with my clients. I want there to be an ongoing open line of communication. I want them to be educated people. I want them to understand exactly what it is that we're talking about and why it's helpful for them. Because if we can create that type of an environment, then they understand the value that we're providing.
Sure.
And it's incredibly impactful, not only for themselves, but also for the community, because then what happens, and we've seen this over time, is they become ambassadors for our firm. They tell their friends, family, everybody that they care about to come in and talk to us as well, because they've transcended these issues. And that's an incredibly powerful thing as well.
Describe, and again, this is just right off the top of my head, describe the body language. You know, when you meet with someone in that first meeting, that relationship, because I think people are very guarded.
Well, it's really interesting. A lot of folks will come in and they'll be like this.
Yeah.
Or they'll be like this and they'll be kind of away. And what happens, what's very interesting, is within the first 10 to 15 minutes where they can kind of see that this is an absolutely no pressure situation, I'm starting to really delve into what matters to them, because I'll sit up like this and I'll just be like, what do you care about?
Yeah.
Like, what are you here for? What are we trying to accomplish?
Right.
And you'll see the arms uncross. You'll see people relax. You'll see people sit. Yeah, you'll see people sit back. You'll see the shoulders drop. And then we just have a conversation. And it's about what they're trying to accomplish. And it's a really beautiful thing. And then that just continues on. And I'll tell people, I'll say, listen, the relationship visit's all about getting to understand you. If you like what I have to say, most people do. If you don't, that's cool too. If you do, we move on to the diagnostic visit, and that's really where the rubber meets the road, because we're looking at all the ways that we might be able to help and all the threats that you might think you have right now to your success, and we're going to show you the facts about that. And that's all our job is to do, is to help people.
Well, we're about to take a quick break, but if you want your own personalized RetireSHIELD plan or a free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp, make sure to call the number that's on your screen right now and talk with one of our representatives, or you can easily visit our website, RetireSHIELD.tv.
Do you know how much you're paying in fees or commissions with your current plan or advisor? What about unnecessary risk or future tax implications? Sit down with a fiduciary advisor at Crown Haven that can help you understand important concepts and so you can make the best decisions for yourself moving forward. We may even be able to answer questions you didn't even know needed to be asked. Take advantage of our complimentary portfolio diagnostic by calling Casey and his team of fiduciary advisors at Crown Haven today.
Hello and welcome back to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate, and as always, I am joined by the founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Now, Casey is a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. So, Casey, before the break, you talked about that first step, RetireSHIELD process, and of course the relationship visit. Now, this is where you're able to holistically understand your client. Now, what happens next?
Well, the relationship visit, like we talked about in our last segment, is really getting to understand who our client is on a deeply personal level. The diagnostic visit is really where we're analyzing, and this is actually prior to the diagnostic visit. My team of advisors is going through with a fine-tooth comb over 5 separate areas. So secure income planning, their investment portfolio from a tax perspective, from a healthcare perspective, from a legacy and estate planning perspective, and looking for either threats to their success based on what they want their retirement to look like, or opportunities for improvement. And the diagnostic visit is where we get back together and we say, okay, we review the relationship visit. So I'll sit down with them and I'll say, you know, this is what we talked about last time. This is what's important to you. Let's make sure that we're on the same page, because I want to make sure that I understand the client, right?
Sure.
And so we'll say, okay, these are our hierarchy of needs, and we'll talk about, you know, safety of principal, growth to outpace inflation, additional income in retirement, reduction of their costs, reduction of taxes, a bunch of things from a portfolio level. And then we'll say, okay, let's reveal the diagnostic that we've done for you. And we show them the facts. And we'll say, okay, these are the expenses that you're paying for your portfolio. This is the risk you're taking from a stress test perspective. So, you know, if a financial crisis were to occur, these are the types of losses you could expect to have. From an income standpoint, this is the type of income that you could reliably take from this portfolio to maintain your standard of living. Okay. With inflation baked in. All of these types of things. And it gives people unprecedented insight, because I think what's important to remember is that retirement planning as a industry really hasn't been around for more than 20, 25 years. And so folks really haven't seen this type of information before. They might have an investment advisor that's given them sort of an idea of what they might be able to do, but they've never seen concrete data of what they're capable of doing and what it all looks like on paper.
I picture this diagnostic meeting, the second meeting after you've established that relationship and you're sitting down. It's almost like they're bringing you the puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
This is what they have.
Yeah.
And then your analysis, your team works on making sure the puzzle pieces fit well together.
Yes.
And then obviously, if there are things that are needed, you start talking about maybe adding a piece here.
Well, it's very objective. I mean, think about us as practitioners. So if you were to go to a doctor and you were to say, you know, my arm hurts or something's bothering me, what do? They run tests.
Sure.
And we do the same thing. We run tests. We run all sorts of tests. We run tests on the stress level of the portfolio, what would happen if a crash were to happen. We run tests on the costs of the portfolio, how much are you paying? We run tests on how taxation is going to affect you. We run tests on inflation. And that's just on the portfolio level. Then we run tests on, you know, how are you going to be able to afford healthcare when it comes to, you know, the rising costs of healthcare, et cetera, et cetera. We look at benefits, we look at Social Security, we look at all those different types of things. And we do it by using third-party sources. So, you know, and then we cross-reference those third-party sources to make sure that what we're delivering to the client is factual. So it's the scientific method. It's the exact opposite of someone's opinion. It's quite literally the facts of what they're looking at and what they're dealing with. And this gives people such insight into how well prepared they are and what tools they're using and how they're serving them or serving their interests And you hit on it. Are these tools working in your best interest to help you achieve your objective based on the relationship visit that we had and what we know your retirement looks like to you and what you would like to see happen during your retirement? And there could be tools that you're using that are fantastic. Well, they're going to want to know that. They're going to want to know, hey, this part of my investment portfolio is fantastic. They're also equally going to want to know that if this part of my investment portfolio is not working very well for me and it totally is antithetical to my interests, that's maybe something that I should look at abandoning, right? And maybe what's the replacement strategy that I could use that could serve my interests even better, right? So all of those things are incorporated within the diagnostic visit.
You see the shoulders go down, you see the body language change.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the second meeting, you guys are already on the same team.
Absolutely.
And you really see it working.
Well, it's very collaborative because, you can't have a plan without the human component. So the human component has to be first, right? Like, I have to understand who this human being or couple are, and then they have to understand who I am and how much I care. Because nobody's going to want to listen to a plan I can prepare for them if they don't believe that I care for them. And I'm not going to do a very good job planning for them if I don't understand who they are. So the relationship visit is quite literally, we want to understand you, we want you to understand who we are and what we can provide. And then the diagnostic visit is the facts of the case. It's, we already know these things, now how well is this serving you? And there could be things that are serving you quite well. There could be things that are serving you not as well. Okay, then just like if you go to the doctor, they're going to prescribe a solution. Right. My goal is to prescribe the cure. I want to say, well, here's the cure to the issue. And then we're going to show them, a comparative analysis of, for example, like a retirement income map. Well, this is how your retirement income is going to look like with your current portfolio over the course of the next 25, 30 years, and how long your money will last and what the risks are for that. And then if we were to prescribe a solution, what that would look like. And then we can, on the fly, make adjustments. So if they have questions and they say, well, okay, what if I were to use this strategy? Well, we can show them what all those different strategies look like, so there's no more guesswork.
Right.
And a lot of clients have questions about this. They've wondered in their mind, like, what would an all-stock portfolio look like? What would an all-bond portfolio look like? What would a mixture of those look like? What if I were to use an insurance product in addition to that? How would that look, right? What if I were to have just all my money in a bank account?
Yeah, your puzzle pieces.
Yeah, we're able to show them all of that, and it's like, wow, I understand all of this now, and it's based on data.
It's an opportunity to really kind of dive in, and the initial relationship, they're going to be open to suggestion, where if you put the diagnostic first and you're saying this is what you got to do, they're not as familiar with you and your company, but now all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's talk about those alternatives.
Well, yeah, and that's what most financial firms do, right? Like, you'll walk into a financial firm and they'll say, this is what we sell, you should do this. As opposed to, this is retirement planning. Right. It's about people's lives. Like, you deserve to have somebody that truly cares about you and wants to help you get to where you want to go. Like, you're a human being. You deserve for your money to be serving you, and you deserve somebody that understands how to use tools to get you to that place. So that's all we're doing.
It's your retirement. You can take control. We need to take a quick break, but before we do, I wanted to remind you, just basically, you've got to join us. You can do it online. There's so many Hoosiers out there that have already shielded their retirement with Personalized RetireSHIELD Plan. Our lines are now open. You can call the number that is on the screen and talk with one of our representatives, or you can visit our website, very easy, RetireSHIELD.tv, for your very own personalized RetireSHIELD plan or a free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp.
Do you hear that? That's me enjoying my retirement, traveling around the world to play golf where I want, when I want, with whomever I want. Because years ago, I rolled over my IRA with the help of the local, independent, and trusted fiduciary team of advisors at Crown Haven.
Hello and welcome back to RetireSHIELD TV. I'm Morgan Patrick, consumer advocate, and as always, I am joined by founder and CEO of Crown Haven Wealth Advisors and creator of the RetireSHIELD process, Casey Marx. Casey is a retirement income certified professional as well as a certified financial fiduciary. So before the break, you discussed the first two steps in the RetireSHIELD process, the relationship visit and, of course, diagnostic visit. What comes next?
Well, this is the fun part, Morgan, and this is where our clients, and we'll probably show a bunch of clients behind us on the screen, but this is where our clients get a custom RetireSHIELD delivery, and this is a leather-bound binder, and I want you to imagine your entire financial life organized in one spot. Everything down to an income plan, an investment plan, a healthcare plan, a tax plan, and a legacy plan.
Tangible, right there.
Tangible, and it's right here. And this is the sum total of everything I wish my mother would have had after my father passed away when I was 15 years old. This has been a labor of love to create. It's based on the academia, and quite frankly, it's so that if anything were to happen to any of our clients, their loved ones would be able to pick this up, know exactly what is going on in their financial lives, and there would be no delay, there would be no hassle. They'd be able to pick it right up and pick up where they left off. At the same time, for our clients, what we have them do is every meeting they come in, they bring this binder in, we update it for them. So it serves as a living history of everything that's been going on for them and how we're moving forward and continually providing them value. So this is quite literally your financial life in a leather-bound binder.
Wow.
It's something that we developed in order to provide an unmatched level of service for our clients. And it's 90 pages of custom documentation that we customize for each individual client. And this is why it takes us, just at the diagnostic phase, 3 to 4 hours for each client to do the analysis. It takes us an additional probably 2 to 3 hours to build these binders for each of our clients. That's why we have such a large service team at our firm as well, because, as a firm owner, I've invested quite a bit in the fact that we want our clients to know that we provide a lot of care and attention, and we respect the very unique position we have in their life to provide them that confidence for their retirement.
Well, and just having this process, 3 steps, and then the team works diligently to create this custom plan, these custom puzzle pieces that are unique to that individual or couple. That's the shoulder drop.
Yeah, and this is the most fun out of all of it, because the relationship visit for me, and just on a human level, it's extraordinarily fulfilling to get to know people on a daily basis. And I've mentioned in past episodes, I keep my calendar pretty sparse.
Sure.
And the reason for that is because I want to take my time getting to know people. This is not something where I've got, 7, 10 appointments a day. I'll sit down with maybe 1 or 2 possible new clients every couple of days. And the rest of my time, I'm servicing current clients. And so when I sit down with a new client, and people are kind of surprised by this, I'll spend an hour and a half, 2 hours with them, and I'll really talk about what they're trying to accomplish.
Sure.
And they'll be surprised at how quick that hour and a half goes, but by the end of it, they'll thank me for how much time I've spent with them just in the relationship visit. They'll say, I've never spent this much time with a financial professional in my life. A lot of folks that are working with maybe a 401k plan administrator, they'll walk into a room, they'll say, hey, this is what you should be doing with your investments, see you later. Their financial advisor, maybe they'll get them on the line once every 6 months or something. We're really invested in the relationship component.
You have developed this relationship, and then you are working with what they hold very dear to them.
Yeah.
It is their future. It's their end game.
Yeah.
And you're able to develop this plan unique to them where they are at ease.
Well, look, money is a very interesting thing, because most of my clients are wise enough to understand that everything that's represented in this binder isn't their life. Right? Money does not equal happiness. Money is not your life, right? But what money does do for you is it provides you either security or utility or options and flexibility or freedom, however you view money, and it allows you to pursue your goals and desires and pursue your version of happiness,
Sure.
whatever that means to you. And so, and it represents a lot of time and energy. So at a very basic level, people want to make sure that it's handled properly. So once we do that, once we handle it properly and set it up for success, the natural reaction is that the stress levels go down immensely. And a retirement plan is totally different than a financial plan. A retirement plan is, we're solving it. You're going to be able to enjoy the rest of your life, right? And then it's continual planning, right? So there are going to be things that come up in people's lives throughout retirement. There's going to be maybe, and this is sad, but there's going to be maybe, a sibling that passes away. There's going to be, something that happens with a child that they're going to have to help them.
And eventually, if it's a couple situation, the spouse may pass.
Exactly, and we're there to help with that, right? And we've had those situations at our firm where, it's the person that really understands the financial situation, and maybe the spouse hasn't been paying attention as much for the last, 20 or 30 years. That's partially why we put this together as well. But then that gets back to educating both spouses, and that's why we place such a high emphasis on both spouses being involved. And that's why I always say I want to hear from the silent spouse, because it's extremely important. But there are always going to be things that pop up, right? Like in my family, my stepfather had a massive stroke in October of 2022. That was something nobody saw coming. It was a personal black swan event for our family.
How could you?
We can't see it coming. The man used to get up and do crunches every morning at age 80, right? He's the picture of health. But what we were able to do, when I flew out to Stanford Hospital on an overnight flight and I was put into, a conference room with 3 neurosurgeons, his 2 children, and my mother who had just been re-traumatized.
Right.
And if we remember what was happening in October of 2022, the markets were falling. What I was able to do was plop this thing down on the table and go, by the way, his investments are safe, he's protected, and oh, by the way, remember, he has a long-term care plan that pays $12,000 a month. Talk about the lack of financial stress that exists when you're able to do that.
Wow.
Right? So when you've got it handled, you can handle both the things that pop up, and you're able to enjoy your life up to that point. Because if you take our family, for example, we were able to go enjoy vacations together, do things like that over the years prior to this stroke. So we were enjoying all of those types of things. And then when the unfortunate event happens, that's handled as well.
I tell you folks, very important to have a plan. That's all the time we have for you today. We're going to be back next week. But if you are looking for peace of mind, and we've been talking about that today in your retirement, don't wait. Remember, our lines are open 24/7. So call the number that's on your screen right now, or visit our website, RetireSHIELD.tv, for your free copy of Casey's book, Baby Boomer Retirement Boot Camp, or to have a personalized RetireSHIELD plan created for you by Casey and his wonderful team of financial advisors.